Ladies and gentlemen, in today's video, we are going to go over the one, the only, the Google Ads search campaign. We are going to go over how to make it from start to finish and really how to make a viable and amazing search campaign that actually generates you results and high quality leads. We're going to go over what it is at the beginning. We're going to go over the results we've achieved over the years, as well as also creating the entire campaign from scratch. So without further ado, let's get into what a search campaign is and who it is for. And to start off, this is essentially what a search ad looks like. If you've ever gone on Google, you'll always see at the very top part, there is a search ad. And essentially what you can do is advertise your product or service at the top of the Google Ads search results. And this is very awesome for a lot of businesses that are looking to advertise their services and get in front of people looking to buy from them. And if you want to do this for fencing, pool installation, HVAC, whatever it is, you absolutely can. What happens is someone will actually click on this little ad here. They'll be redirected to your website or landing page, of which they can then call or purchase your product. What it looks like on the actual computer is this, and then what it looks like on the actual mobile phone or iPhone or whatever you're using looks like this. And it's really, really awesome provided everything is set up correctly, like I'll show you in today's video. But that's essentially what a search ad is. Now we'll move on to the actual results of what we were able to achieve over the past few years and really go over what you can achieve as well inside of Google Ads. So to start off, I'm going to go through the 2 case studies we have here, and then I've got another 2 accounts to also look over. And this first one was an HVAC account back in 2021. They were doing high-end HVAC installations, if I can remember. And this was the very first month. They didn't have a massive ad spend here, only $800, but we were still able to get them a total of 10 leads at a conversion rate of 26%. Normally, a conversion rate, if you're using a website and your account isn't doing that well, it will be in between 1 and 10%. We were able to achieve 26%. So despite not having a ton of leads, the account was still very successful. The cost per lead was around $81. Again, we were going after the actual total installation of these giant HVAC system, so $81 is completely fine. Moving forward, we also did a moving and storage campaign. We were able to achieve a 34% conversion rate, which is very, very high. This was in California, so the cost per lead was pretty high as well, but not crazy compared to the other competitors in the market. They were happily paying $400 to $500 a lead for this at that time. And yeah, we were able to achieve a decent amount of leads, 72.8. There's a weird tracking metric that was in this account, and it was adding like 0.2, 0.8 into every single lead. So we fixed that later on, but that was from the previous account. I still remember that, which was funny. But yeah, the total cost here, they were spending a decent amount of money, right around $10,000 a month, and we were able to achieve some pretty amazing results with that. Moving forward, we also have a pool installation campaign in August to October of 2021. We were able to achieve 40 leads out of that at an 11% conversion rate. This actual campaign did not have any email form signups. Normally, we recommend doing email forms as well as phone calls. Using those 2 in combinations generally gives you the best results when it comes to conversion rates, and it doesn't overwhelm the customer. They only wanted phone calls, so they had 40 phone calls this month at a cost of $700, the total month, $729. And yeah, the customer was very, very happy because this was high-end pool installation. So 40 leads for $700, that's pretty good. Now we go to present day, and this is a campaign we're working in right now. This is for a company that does renovations for seniors, and they essentially make their house much more accessible. These renovations are very expensive, and essentially what we're doing is we're getting about a $59 cost per conversion and getting around 26 conversions a month. This is amazing compared to what they were getting. We took over in October of last year, and this is essentially what a good campaign looks like. Keep in mind 26 conversions. I think we have around a 19% conversion rate. We're struggling a little bit with search terms on this one, so that's why our conversion rate isn't perfect, but other than that, the campaign's doing really well. This is what a bad campaign looks like. It will spend all your money. We're spending the exact same amount back in October. You had 4 leads, and your cost per conversion is $325. So yeah, there is a very big difference between a successful campaign and a unsuccessful campaign. And in today's video, I'm going to show you how to make a good campaign so you can get good results and really be able to be successful, get high quality leads, and make sure you make profit on the long run. So without further ado, let's get into it on how to build your own search campaign. All right, and now we are into our account. This is the previous account we used to actually create the call only campaign. I'll link that up above if you only want to get calls for this campaign. It's a really cool campaign structure and cool account if you're looking for only calls. That being said, we're going to do a search campaign for this one. If your screen doesn't look like this, you may just have to actually hit the appearance button. I'll show you how to actually do that. You'll be in the new design. So if we hit explore new design, your account should probably look like this. We just have to hit appearance, and then we're going to use previous design. as I much prefer the previous design. I think it looks better. I think it's easier to navigate. And I don't like Google's attempt on the new design. Props them for trying, but I'm just not a big fan of it. Now, all we have to do is hit new campaign. If this doesn't pop up, you may have to come up here to all campaigns, hit all campaigns, come in here to campaigns, and then hit the big blue plus icon and hit new campaign. Very simple. You'll probably find it not very difficult. Now, what we're going to do for this one is actually hit leads. And then as you can see, our conversion goal here was already set up. We're going to be using a different one. We're actually going to be using two. We're going to use phone calls and then the actual form submissions. So two different types. But right now, this is completely fine because we're going to go ahead and change that. What we're going to do is hit continue. We're going to come down here to search. There's a lot of great campaigns in here. Demand gen's brand new, video, performance max, displays, shopping. All this stuff is great depending on how you use it. What we're going to do here is actually just keep on scrolling through. We're going to type in our campaign name. So for this one, let's do pool installation. If you were doing HVAC, you could do, let's see how we would divide that up. I would probably just do an HVAC campaign altogether. You could do heating as an ad group, or heating repair / installation. You could do AC repair as an ad group, AC installation as an ad group, heating installation as an ad group, heating repair as an ad group. And essentially what we want to do here for any type of campaign is target our most profitable services. I have an entire video on this. I'll link it up above of how to find good keywords and essentially good services. But really what we want to do is target our most profitable services. The reason being is we have to spend essentially the same amount of money anyways with Google Ads. Google Ads is expensive. So you might as well go for your biggest winners and most profitable and least time-consuming products out there or services and get your biggest return possible. That being said, is it always, a certain service? No, but more often than not, the owner of the company or you, the actual manager of the Google Ads account, will know what, a service that they're trying to target or have a very good idea of what is going to be the most profitable. For a pool company, it's pool installation. It's very, very simple. For other companies, it may be going in and managing the pool. You might make more on the long-term value there. For other companies, it could be supplying them with, chlorine or something like that. You have to figure out what you're best at and double down on that. That's the best way to succeed with Google Ads, in my opinion. But I don't want to bore you to death. You guys will probably know what your best service is. What we got to do now is hit continue. And what we're going to do is actually focus on not conversions, but clicks. The reason being is Google Ads is really, really good at figuring out what converts and what doesn't. It's not good at figuring out what is going to convert day one because it has no data to work with. So what we have to do is actually provide Google with a whole bunch of data. The best way to do that is with maximize clicks. It just goes after as many clicks as possible. And I know what you're saying. I don't want clicks. I want conversions. Absolutely. I understand. But the issue here is that without these clicks and without this data, Google's AI is going to have a very difficult time optimizing. So what we prescribe is we get 30 conversions with maximized clicks, and that usually is enough data for Google's AI to figure out what works, what doesn't work, and then just run and really sprint with the campaign in month 2 and month 3 and just get amazing results from there. If you don't use maximized clicks, we found that it is a lot slower to actually get the account running. And sometimes Google is just very gun shy at going after certain keywords because it doesn't know where to spend the money. And in our opinion, it's much better to go with clicks and then change it over after 30 conversions to a automated bidding strategy like maximize conversions. Now, what I would recommend doing here is set a maximum cost per bid limit. The way we find this is we come up here to tools and settings. We come over here to our keyword planner, and I'll link up above the actual keyword planner video of how to find all the good keywords that you want. It's very important to actually do keyword research, make sure there's enough volume, make sure there is enough there and enough buying intent to actually be viable to run these ads. Because if no one is searching for these actual search terms, so no one goes to Google and types in pool installation, it doesn't matter how good the ad is or how much money you spend, no one's going to buy your product. So it's very important that we figure out what keywords to bid on and which ones not to very early on. So for this one, I'm just going to leave this as Canada just because it's wintertime and I want to show you some actual results. But what I would do is geo-modify this just to the city you want to target. That may be one city, that may be 10 cities, that might be an entire country. I don't know what it is, but all you have to do is come over here, type in a city and hit target. Very simple to do, and it allows you to actually get relevant data. This is going to be very important because one, it gives you the actual search volume, how many people are searching for this keyword, and two, how much does the keyword cost, which will allow us to figure out what to bid. Now, once we've done all of this, we can hit get results, and you're going to find out very quickly that there are a lot of keywords most of the time. When we're looking for monthly searches, we want to be somewhere in the range of 1,000 to 10,000 on multiple keywords. Generally, you can run campaigns with less, but it's generally what your goal is and how many impressions you need. There's a bit of math behind it, but normally, if you're looking at 1,000 to 10,000 on multiple keywords, you're pretty much safe for at least a lower budget, a few $1,000s a month in Google Ads. You're normally fine there. That being said, we're going to look through here and essentially just look at the top of page bid range for low and high range. So this is essentially what does it cost to be at the top of page on the low end, and what does it cost to be at the top of page on the high end. What we're going to do is essentially just go through here and look at all the keywords that are relevant to us. So pool installation is relevant to us. Pool companies near me, this may be good, this may be bad. The reason is people may be looking for like chlorine or pool noodles and stuff like that. So I really want to look at keywords that have high buying intent, like builders, installation, vinyl pools, fiberglass pool installation, stuff like that, that really indicates that the person is in the market to buy a pool and not something for the pool. And that goes with any company. If it's fencing, you don't want just fencing company. That may work, and you might have to actually run that through a CRM to figure out whether or not it actually generates sales. But that's one of those words that's iffy. You really want to look for high buying intent ones. Pool builders, that's fine. Pool installation, pool contractors. Above ground, we don't do above ground most of the time. Swimming pool builders, contractors, installers, pool fence, no. Pool installation, yes. In-ground pool installation. So let's look through there. And all these are highlighted. 15, 21, 15, 16, 11. So they're all around 10 to about 15. There is one outlier of $21. But I would feel safe probably putting a bid limit of right around $60. That just makes life a lot easier, and I make sure Google doesn't overbid on anything. Sometimes, way back in the day, it would essentially see that you could only get one click a day, and it would be like, hey, I can only get one click a day, so I might as well bid on it. And it's like, that click is like $82. It's like, you don't want to bid $82 on something you're just gathering data with. So we just put this in as essentially a fail safe. That normally doesn't happen anymore. You can normally uncheck this, but it's just nice to have it as a fail safe. Now, all we have to do now is hit next. And this is the fun part. This is the display network, and this is the search network, everyone's favorite networks. And essentially, the display network is absolutely worthless. Uncheck it. I have an entire video on why it's terrible, and if you care to watch it, by all means do so. But take my word for it, and take everyone else's word on the internet. The display network is utterly useless, and if you want to run a display campaign, that's completely fine. But do it as a separate campaign, not inside of a search campaign. It really restricts all of your ability to actually pull all the levers essentially and move everything around and make sure you know what's converting and what's not converting. That's really the downfall of running a display network campaign. You have access to none of that inside of a search campaign if you're running display network. Now, moving forward, we have the actual search network. This is cool if we have low search volume, and it's normally used for that. We normally A/B test this later on in the campaign's lifecycle. We normally start campaigns without it if we know we have enough search volume. If we have very limited search volume, chances are we will include this. But what we have found is the actual quality of these actual leads and clicks is not as good as the actual organic search platform. So when people go to Google, it's very monitored by Google because Google is very good at it. When we're using partner networks, like there's a whole bunch of them, none of them are coming to mind, but Amazon, I don't know if Bing is on there. But there's a whole bunch of different actual networks. And essentially what it does is Google partners with them and can advertise through those platforms, but they're not as monitored. And generally it leads to lower quality clicks and lower quality conversions. That being said, not always, but in our experience, we just don't always look with the most positive light towards the search network. Can it be useful? Absolutely, in certain situations. But for most people, if you have enough search volume, you don't need this on right away. Moving forward, we have locations. So where do we actually want to advertise? I highly recommend advertising in places that you can actually service. We don't want to advertise in places that we can't service. So for this one, I'm just going to target Canada. But if you wanted to do something else, you could come over here. You could type in Hamilton. You could hit target. You can hit exclude if you don't want to target a certain region, which is good to actually go around the outside. For radius, we could do pin mode. We can drop a pin here. 20 miles. If you want to adjust that to more, you can just up this or down this. It's completely fine. But really, it's up to you on what you want to target. I highly recommend only targeting places you can actually service. You'd be surprised how many people target places they can't service. So very, very important. What we're going to do is hit Canada. And the next part is very, very important. Location options. You would be shocked how many accounts have this set up wrong. I would say I'd say the majority of accounts we actually do an audit for or look over has the setting wrong. And this is a big setting to get wrong. Essentially, what this allows is people outside of your targeted area. So say we're only doing Canada here. If someone's in the US or someone's in China or Africa and they type in, hey, Canada pool installation, our ad can pop up because they typed in that certain location. That is a waste of money for most people. So what we want to do is only hit presence. If you were doing like a rent-a-car or something like that, where people are coming from out of town, makes sense to do presence or interest. But for most service-based businesses, we want to just do presence. It saves us a lot of money. And you'd be surprised how many people get calls and they're like, why is someone calling from another country? And it's like that one setting will make or break an account, which is crazy. For languages, I highly recommend only using one language per campaign. Languages are a big differentiator. When you separate them out by campaign, it makes life a lot easier. You can have people custom write the ad copy. You can have the landing pages set up differently. Everything just becomes so much easier when you segregate by language. Also, one language might be better than another language when it comes to converting, and your message might just really resonate in French as opposed to English or something like that. I really think if you're doing multiple languages, you should have them in multiple campaigns. It's just so much easier. But if you want to add one, just check it off or type it in. Very, very easy to do. Moving forward, we have audience segments. And audience segments, this is something super important. Leave this in observation mode. Do not put this in targeting mode right now. The reason for that is observation mode simply collects data. It doesn't do anything. Targeting mode means you only target people who are in these groups. The issue with that is there may only be 10 people in these groups, and then you get no impressions and no clicks and no nothing. And we don't know whether or not those groups right now convert. That's why it's very important to put it into observation and then later on come back to it and go, oh, okay, the pools and spa segment really converts and we should, maybe just target them or up the actual bid adjustment on them. It really, really depends, and you really only want to go with the data here. But for anything right now, we want to add as many relevant audience segments as possible. This will just allow us to get a whole bunch of data on all of these. If it's loosely related whatsoever, I would add it in. Home improvement, yep. Landscape design, yep. Homeowners, probably. Browse, you could do detailed demographics. I would just add in literally anything slightly related. This just ups your chance of finding a good segment that might work for you later on. And like I said, observation mode does literally nothing. You just data, so there is no harm in adding these. Moving forward, broad match right now, we're not using it, so you don't got to worry about that. Broad match for most campaigns is really, really loose and will target just about anything when it comes to a search term. So if someone types in pool installation DIY, which is clearly not a keyword we want to go after, but because we have pool installation in broad match, your ad will still pop up for that. So broad match is very, very hit or miss, and you need to know what you're doing with it. Right now, we don't need to use it, and we can just avoid it for right now. Moving forward, we have ad rotation. If you had a super big problem with your ads, you could put it into do not optimize, and then you could manually test this. This used to be a big deal way back when Google's AI was absolutely terrible, and it would essentially just find one ad it liked and then go with that, regardless of whether or not it was converting well. But now it's really good, and we tend to not use this almost ever. Only in certain situations, which is very, very rare. Another setting is start and end dates, which may be important to you. If you're unfamiliar with Google Ads, it's probably a good bet just to add an end date, and then this will turn the campaign off after a certain amount of time, just in case you get locked out or something like that. Another important setting is ad schedule, and this is something most people overlook. We can change this to whatever hours we want. I highly recommend and I keep this in mind, only running to hours you can actually respond to. If you can only respond to clients in a timely manner, and I mean 30 minutes or less, preferably 10 minutes or less, those are the hours I would be running. If this takes an hour or 2 hours for you to get back to them, they have found another person and they're not waiting around for you more often than not. We've had people in the past that we used to work with, and they would literally get an email on Friday and then not respond to it till Monday afternoon. That's an issue because now you're just wasting money. So I highly recommend running the ads when you can actually respond to them quickly and effectively. If this means only running them for a few hours a day, it means only running them for a few hours a day. If you don't work weekends, don't run them on weekends. It is very, very simple. Only run them when you can effectively respond to them. If you make people wait, they get upset and much less likely to close. You can look up a whole bunch of statistics online that back me up on that. It is very, very important to be able to respond effectively. Now, if you want to do ads Saturdays and Sundays, you absolutely could and test that out. If you do work Saturdays and Sundays, that's completely fine. What we have found for most service-based businesses is people have less time during the weekdays to actually look around for a quote. And chances are you're going to get a better cost per lead and more sales and less costs essentially overall if you run Mondays to Fridays. Now, this is not always the case. It's just a general principle we follow. It's always worth testing Saturdays and Sundays. But as you can imagine, most people have more time on Saturday and Sundays and have more time to look around for a quote. So we really like Mondays to Fridays here. Moving forward, we have campaign URL options. We don't need that right now. And then brand restrictions. Unless you're running a certain type of brand that needs to actually be on a list, you should be fine. Now we can hit next. All right, the next part of our actual Google Ads account is the actual keywords and ads. So here we're going to be essentially matching up all of the keywords, ads, and ad groups that we create. And essentially we want them to all reflect one another. Essentially, if you picture it, you have an ad group, and then in that ad group, you have ads and keywords. And those two things should be aligned. So if you have a keyword that says pool installation near me, your ad should say something along the lines of pool installation near me. Now, this isn't always the case, and people who are lazy generally have very vague ads and a whole bunch of keywords, and this normally hurts expected click-through rate. This normally hurts landing page experience because your actual landing pages have to be very vague as well, and it overall hurts quality score, which essentially charges you more for every single click because you were just not willing to take the time to make those ads as relevant to the customer as possible. So taking the time here really does matter, and it will affect your account long-term. So I really hope you do take the time to actually do this. What we're going to do now is create an ad group, and we're going to name it. All you have to do to name it is click on this little pencil icon here. And what we're going to do is do a general pool installation ad group. Very, very simple. And then we'll do a fiberglass pool installation one and a vinyl installation one. And I'll show you what I mean here. And essentially what we're going to do is come back to our keyword planner, and essentially we're going to look for all keywords that are relevant to pool installations. Pool installation is generally a pretty good keyword to go after if you're looking to install pools. Another one could be pool builders near me. That's not too far off. I would probably create a separate ad group because builders is a kind of a different situation, but it is very similar. Pool installation near me, definitely going in there. Above ground pool, we're not going to use that. We're going to expand this list up to 500. See what else. Swimming pool installers near me. Yep, that's perfect because that's essentially the same thing. And as you can see, all of these have search volume. You don't want to add keywords that have essentially 0. This one's not great, but again, we're winter in Canada, so it's not going to be super high. Swimming pool installation, good. In-ground pool installation, I would probably build that out into its own ad group. That way you could have a specific landing page dedicated to actual in-ground pools as opposed to just pool installation in general. Keywords to be wary of is cost. Sometimes cost is very, very good. Sometimes it's bad depending on what you're actually going for. A lot of people will actually just type in cost and that's all they care about. Sometimes this is the actual case and scenario where you just don't want to add it. And then other times people are just looking for a quote and they want to buy from you right away. And it's an actual really, really good keyword. It just kind of depends on your situation. So I'd highly monitor those keywords that are like pool installation cost, quote, stuff like that, where it could be good. It could also be bad. Also, we don't want to go for anything vague as well. If it just says pool companies, that could mean a lot of things. That could be people looking for chlorine. That could be looking for people to install a pool fence. There's so much stuff there. So we really want to go after those keywords that says like pool installation or pool installation contractors near me or something like that, that indicates the person is ready to buy. Contractors, I would probably put that into its own ad group. But what I would recommend doing is actually following my video on how to find all these good keywords and really take time, build out a good list, and then go from there. Now, once we have our list of keywords, what we're going to do is essentially copy all of these. And I would come over here to a program called AdWords Wrapper. It's completely free online. And you would just paste them into the actual section here. We're going to copy paste, hit wrap keywords. And this is more time effective if you have 10, 15 keywords. Just make things a little bit easier. And we're going to come back to our search campaign and paste it. Now, as you see, we have a whole bunch of little parentheses around our keywords. The reason for that, if you're not familiar with how match types work in Google Ads, is essentially you can filter out how much traffic you want coming to your keywords and how relevant you want your search terms to be relevant to your keywords. So if someone types in fencing services near me, you could put it in an exact match and get as closely related keywords as possible. You could also put it into phrase match, which is more lenient, and we really like them. You could also put them into broad match, which is really, really broad and vague at times. And I'm going to show you here on the actual Google website what it means. This, and a good example of this is a broad match. As you can see here, you can see someone typed in low carb diet, and then you can get anything related to low carb diet, carb-free meals, carbs for beginners. We don't normally recommend using broad match for a lot of lead generation because unless you have perfect data, you know exactly who is going to be counting as a lead, very, very difficult to monitor the quality of the actual search terms. However, if you use something like phrase match, which has a decent amount of leniency, as you can see here, but it goes after the same intent, which is how we're structuring our account or basing our ads off intent as well. We can essentially have a very, very good ad pop up for the keyword we want and then have it go to a landing page that we want. All three things aligned, and we can do a very good job of that. The final one is exact match. We used to really, really like exact match. And as you can see, it kind of is exactly as it is, but it's not. And Google gives this example that we want to appear for shoes for men and only that, but it kind of is related. And take it from me, someone who's run these accounts, exact match is no longer exact match. And we find more and more every day that it's this weird optionality of sometimes it is kind of lenient and sometimes it's strict. And it's just really hard to understand. I would much rather go with phrase match. That's what we normally run our accounts in. We find it's a good balance between not too strict and not too lenient, and gives us a very good understanding of what keywords we're going after. We still have to go in and optimize it and add negatives and stuff like that, but it is really, really good, and that's what we like to use. Now, once we have that, we can move on to our actual ads. We can just scroll down. For this example, I'm just going to be very lazy, and I'm going to copy and paste this from the previous campaign. But like I said, you should have a specific landing page for this. It will help conversion rates substantially. Moving forward, we have the display path, which is essentially this little description afterwards. You want to take the time just to actually enter in a good one, which could be essentially whatever you name the ad group. That's normally completely fine. And you'll just see pool installation pop up after this. Completely fine, but it makes it more specific. So if someone types in vinyl pool installation and then your display pass is vinyl pool installation, you just have that little extra edge that most companies aren't willing to take. So I highly recommend doing that and make your ad look a lot more professional as opposed to just vague and not really specific to the customer's problem. And essentially what we're trying to do is make an ad that is as specific to the customer's problem as possible and as big as possible. The more likely it is to be seen, the more likely it is to be clicked on, the higher the click-through rate, or the expected click-through rate, I should say, the more likely it is to boost our quality score. This leads to a lower cost per click, which allows us to get more leads for the same amount of money, which normally leads to more sales and overall account success. So very important to specialize and really create relevant and big ads is my whole point. Moving forward, we're going to scroll down and we're going to create headlines. And when I'm creating ads, what I think about is three things. One, identify the problem, which could be as simple as looking for pool installation or pool installation near me with a question mark or something like that. I really like using questions as it's just something different that a lot of companies don't do, and it just kind of sticks out in the consumer's mind. The second part is reasons to buy. Why should they pick you over the competition? So maybe it's looking for pool installation. And then part two of that is we offer 24/7 service. We offer 2-year warranty. Give them a reason to pick you instead of the competition, and really think from the customer's perspective as opposed to just saying we're the best. A lot of companies just boast about why they're great, and it gives no reason to actually buy from you. And it's just very vague, and it doesn't get the customer from point A to point B. It's very vague, and maybe the customer picks you and maybe they don't really care because you didn't really give them a reason to buy. And if we're going to be, spending a lot of money on Google Ads anyway, we want the best possible result. And that's normally thinking from the customer's perspective. And if we can give them something they want, normally they're going to click us as opposed to the competition. The third part of this is the actual call to action. With search ads, we have 15 headlines possible. I highly recommend you use all of them. But with the call to action, we're going to be essentially telling the person what happens next. When they click this ad, what is going to happen? Are they going to a website? Are they going to call you right away? What is happening? More often than not, a call to action can be get a quote now, or get a free assessment now. Call now for a free quote. Something like that. It doesn't have to be crazy, but tell them what happens next so they can feel that they know where they're going and it's a guided journey and they're happy and they're confident in what they're doing, as opposed to click our ad and maybe you'll go to the home page, maybe you'll go to the contact us page, maybe you'll have to look around for a while. But if you click our ad, you'll get a quote right away. And it's like, oh, okay, I know what I'm getting when I click this ad, which is really, really nice. So I'm going to go ahead, fill out all these, and then I'm going to explain essentially what my thought process behind them. All right, so I went ahead and filled out all of the actual headlines, 15 out of 15, like I suggest. And I'm going to walk you through just a few of them. Like I said at the very beginning, looking for pool installation, this is pretty self-explanatory. We're identifying the problem and really resonating with the customer as opposed to just saying pools or in-ground pools or something that is just, it's similar, but it's not exactly what the person's looking for. And we really want to be as relevant to the keyword they typed in or the search term they typed in as possible. If they typed in pool installation near me, we want our ad to read pool installation near me or something very, very similar to that. Now, one thing I would recommend doing is actually, I'm going to change this. I'm going to paste this somewhere else. We'll just replace this one. Now, what I would recommend doing is for every headline, essentially, you want to add in a keyword insertion. And what this allows you to do with phrase match keywords in particular is replace this headline with the exact search term the person typed in. So if they typed in pool installation, your first headline can read exactly pool installation or local pool installation near me. And this allows you to essentially get rid of a lot of those similar keywords that are very similar, like pool installation near me, pool installation local, pool installation professional, stuff like that. And it frees you up to add a whole bunch of other features and benefits and calls to action, which is really nice. So all you have to do is add this little squiggly mark and then hit keyword insertion. Now, what this is going to do is essentially replace the main keyword or the headline we have here every time the keyword essentially matches or Google Ads thinks it will match with the actual search term. It's a little complicated to explain, but essentially that first headline will swap out for the actual search term the person typed in, which is really, really nice. And what we want to do is essentially have a backup. So if that fails, we can put looking for pool installation like we just had. We put it there. That's fine. We want to leave it in title case because that makes it look better. I like title case. And as you can see, I actually made a little bit of an oopsie here where I actually put the thing after here. You're supposed to do the little squiggly before you actually fill it out. As you can see now, it's fine. And we are good to go. But this really, really helps, especially if you're using phrase match as opposed to exact match. It allows you to really pop up for a lot more stuff, which is really, really nice. Now, moving forward, we have the 2-year guarantee. That's pretty self-explanatory. It's a reason to buy. Award-winning pools, swimming pool installation. This is similar to that. I wouldn't really care that much if this got swapped out, but it's just another keyword that people could type in and something we're targeting. So it's not a terrible thing to actually test this stuff. Moving forward, we have a call to action. Call now for a free quote. Nice, simple, to the point. And on your landing page, you could have a nice, call now button or a phone number to click on. Complete fine. Expert pool installation. I could have put, local expert pool installers or something a little bit more different, or certified, insured, something like that. That could have also worked. But again, I'm a little rushed for time, so I want to keep this as simple as possible. Customizable features. So if people really know pools, not a lot of people know a ton about pools, so I want to keep it as basic as possible. But if you want to say like, hey, we can add in lights, we can add in a waterfall, we can add in this, or it's included, that would be something you could also add into your actual headlines. Again, every pool company is different on what they're willing to do and what they're not willing to do, so you got to check that out. Easy financing available. This could be a make or break for a lot of people who are buying a pool, because if they're spending $150,000 on a pool, a lot of people will need financing for that. So this could be very, very valuable to a lot of people. Eco-friendly solutions. People, are very health conscious nowadays, and eco-friendly things are, more relevant than they used to be. And this could be something that people are looking for in a pool installation. They're not using, crazy chemicals when they're installing the pool. Your house isn't going to be covered in dust and, stuff you don't want to be inhaling. Something that you might want to consider. Safety first always. I might have even put in free pool fence installation or something like that. Maybe that would resonate more. I might have to A/B test that, but yeah, safety first is also something that is very, very useful. And if your company is, very aware of what they're doing, handling the machinery, making sure no one's getting hurt, that's something a lot of people will pay extra for, and making sure all their tools are put away at the end of the day, and making sure that even though it may be under construction right now, it's not a massive eyesore and no one's going to trip and fall on something. So a nice little thing to have there. get a free assessment today, another call to action, experience premium quality. You could even talk about the actual materials you use. Again, you don't want to get too detailed. People really don't care about details. They care about benefits, really. And when you're talking about benefits, you kind of got to keep them a little more vague and just say, amazing pools, high quality pools, last a lifetime, stuff like this, where people who don't know anything about pools will understand. So that's something we'll want to do. Professional pool design, you could even include a free mock-up. Maybe that could be a headline. Low maintenance investment. They want to make sure they're not taking, spending thousands on their pool every single day to make sure their chlorine's perfectly balanced and stuff like that. Maybe that's something you specialize in at your pool installation business. I don't know. Enjoy stress-free summers. Again, selling the benefit. Calm, cool, collective. The process is easy. And that could be another headline as well. Easy installation process, which a lot of people really care about. They don't want the headache of, months and months of construction work. They want this to be easy, seamless, and essentially the pool was not there one day and now it's there. So that's what most people want. Moving forward, we have the descriptions. You're allowed 4 descriptions. They have a total of 90 characters each. I recommend you use all of them and try and get as close to 90 as possible. Essentially, what we're going to be doing here is just furthering the actual headlines and expanding on them. So this is as simple as, looking for a local pool installation, and then your description can be, we have award-winning pools, 2-year guarantee, call now for a free quote. Just further expanding on what we already have, making it sure that, you're just giving a little bit more information on what these people get. I'm going to go ahead, fill these out, and again, come back and explain what I thought about them. All right, so I went ahead and filled out all of these descriptions, and as you can see, this is essentially a explanation and essentially expansion of the actual ads and headlines. And it's not super complex, but it does give you a whole bunch more reasons to buy. Expertly designed for safety, style, and long-term enjoyment. Call now for a free quote. Identifies the problem more or less. That's normally identified in the actual headline, gives the reasons to buy, and ends with the call to action. Perfect. Transform your outdoor space into a luxurious retreat with ease. Book a consult today. Again, same thing. Enjoy worry-free summers with our reliable, energy-efficient pools. Call now. Award-winning pools with certified installers. The installation process is easy. Again, giving the person what they want and giving them a call to action is very, very simple, but it does take time to do. Moving forward, we have other site links and extensions. I will add these later as it's just easier to add them at a later time. And now we can hit next. Now, what we're going to do here is actually add our budget. What I recommend doing is having at least 10 clicks a day or 1 conversion, whatever is, I would say the conversion is more important than the actual 10 clicks, but most people, if they get 10 clicks, they will get 1 conversion. So it's right around there. Do what you will with that knowledge. But for this example, I'm going to set a custom budget, and our maximum cost per click, if I can remember correctly, let's check what it was, $16.52. So what we're going to do is actually open up our calculator. We're going to enter in $16.52. We're going to times that by 10, comes out to 165 and 20 cents a day. 165, you know what? I'll just do 166.22, round it up a little bit. That little decimal point does make a difference. So please make sure you actually add it, because this is a bidding system, or an auction house, I should say. And those pennies will make a difference. So very, very important to actually use them and try and get every single advantage possible. Now, I know this says a little lower than all the actual other competitors. Keep in mind, this is pool installation. You're selling $100,000 pools. So $166 is not that bad a day. Moving forward, we have actually the campaign name, which we already have in the account. So we're going to do pool installation search campaign. That should fix that problem. But this is just an overview of everything in the account. If there's something wrong, it will normally pop up here. And right now it says phone call leads is our objective. We're actually going to switch that when we actually add in the correct conversion tracking. But this is going to be pretty simple to do. No, for whatever reason, this is still checking for errors. And it could take a few seconds depending on how many issues there are. Let's see what our ad has for an issue. Now it's flagged. And even I, the great Matthew, who runs Tradesman Digital Marketing, will have issues. Let's scroll down, see what's happened. Punctuation and symbols. This is something very important. I added a exclamation inside the actual headline. So what we need to do is actually remove this and replace it with a different actual headline, because if we don't, our Google ad will not run. So as you can see, our ad has that little exclamation mark. I forgot you can't put them in the actual headlines. You can put them in the descriptions though, which is, interesting on Google Ads part. And you can only put one in the description. So very, very important not to overlook. And then now what we're going to do is essentially just go back to our actual review and see how it works. And if Google comes back and it's good, we're good to proceed. If it's not, then we have to restart and go from there. And as you can see, our campaign is good to go. Everything's been approved. Now we can publish our campaign. Now our campaign immediately turns on. And we want to turn this off. The reason for this is we haven't built out the entire campaign and we do not want it to start running without an actual real campaign in here. So we're going to turn this off. You just have to hit the little green button here and hit pause. Now what we can do is continue building out the account. I'm going to show you how to do that and we can go from there. All right, ladies and gentlemen, what we're going to be doing next is actually doubling out our ads and then rewriting most of them. What this looks like is pretty simple. What we're going to do is click on the actual campaign here, come over here to ads, and then we are going to come over here to our only ad. What we're going to do is click this little box here, hit edit, hit copy, and then we're simply going to hit paste. And this is, sometimes you got to actually select this here, so make sure you select it. Sometimes you don't. It's kind of weird. We're going to check these two things off, hit paste, and this is just going to double out the ad. The reason we want to do this is it saves us quite a bit of time later on, and also while we're actually remaking this ad. Some of the things in the ad don't need to be replaced. The display path normally doesn't have to be replaced. The actual URL doesn't normally need to be replaced in the same ad group. So there's quite a few things that can save you a little bit of time on, and I'm all for saving time. So we're going to come over here. We're going to hit edit. This is already off, which is a nice thing. So we know which ad we need to change out. As you can see, we got a whole bunch of stuff in here that we've already done. I like keeping the dynamic keyword insertion here. I would change this out probably to, let's do, should we do local pool installation? Actually, let's do pool installation services. I will keep that all good. I like keeping the dynamic keyword insertion there. It's becoming a lot more useful inside Google Ads just with the recent changes to all the match types. And it's a pretty good thing to do. We're going to change out to your guarantee. We're going to put it in. We could do, what should we do? You know what? I'm going to go in, I'm going to redo all of these, and then I'll come back so it saves us a whole bunch of time. All right, so I went ahead and filled out all of these. Most of them are changed out. Instant quote. Again, we're essentially following the same principles here as our first ad. What we want to do is identify the problem, give reasons to buy, and then end with a call to action. Certified pool installers, pool installation services, swimming pool installation, that should be changed out to something else. But all the other ones are changed. Schedule a free assessment, expert pool installation, no gimmicks, no hidden fees. That's cool. Easy and simple trusted pool experts. Create your dream pool, get a free assessment, experience premium quality, top rated pool installers, 100% client satisfaction. Give us a call today. And then moving forward with the actual descriptions, we provide pool installation services, award-winning and certified. Get a quote today. We are Canada's largest pool installation company, 100 plus 5-star reviews, #1 pool installation service in Toronto. It's a city here in Canada, 25 years of experience. Don't love the experience, but it is what it is. We're just going on what we have. Easy, simple, and fast pool installation. Call us today for a no obligation free quote. And that's pretty good. I would try and change it up a bit more. Again, give more reasons to buy. And then all we have to do after that is simply come down here, hit save ad, and we're going to double out the ad again. And also we got to turn this on as well. So we turn this on, you just hit the little green button here. What we're going to do, copy out the original one again, and then copy and paste. And we're going to do pool installation search. Cool. And done. And this is probably the most time-consuming part of the entire campaign. Once we get to the next few ad groups, a lot of the wording can be switched out. It doesn't have to require you to recreate the entire ad, which is really, really nice. And yeah, it'll speed up once we get past the first 3 ads. First 3 ads generally take quite a bit of time. So as you can see, this is the doubled one out again, and we are going to do the exact same thing. We are just going to rewrite all of these headlines and go from here. All right, and our final ad for this ad group is officially finished. Again, we're just building on more and more headlines. One of the tools I use to come up with some of these headlines is the Google Ads Done For You bundle. It has all the extensions, keywords, and negatives. It will really help you get a lot of good ideas. It really helps for us, or at least me, just to have some reference material, just to go over what has worked in the past. You can get that below if you want it, but that really helps speed up this process as well. What you can see here, we were really targeting more benefits for this ad. So you can see stress-free process, hassle-free financing, create a backyard oasis. And I would kind of give your ads a little bit of a theme. Maybe one goes more heavily into benefits. Maybe one goes more heavily into identifying the problem. Maybe one goes more into the call to action. I would still have all three of those parts to the puzzle, but you can see here, stunning pools guaranteed, fully customizable pools, really benefits here, going really heavy on that. Descriptions, again, just building on it. Transforming your backyard pool, or transforming your backyard with a stunning new pool. Dive into summer with our expert pool installation services. Pretty much same theme as all the other ads, but diving a little bit more into the benefits here. And then once that's good, you just hit save ad and we are good to go. We have all three ads made, and this will make our process a lot easier and a lot quicker now that we have these in our first ad group. What we're going to do is actually start building out more ad groups. That way we can target not only pool installation, but also in-ground pool installation, fiberglass, and let's do vinyl pool installation as well for this campaign. And that should give us enough of a search volume. And that's one of the things that is important. You need enough search volume in order to get clicks. Normally 4 to 8 ad groups to start off with is generally fine. You could start off with less depending on how much search volume you have. It really is dependent on the campaign and what you're going for. But most campaigns can get away with 3, 4, 5, 6 ad groups at the beginning. It shouldn't be that big of a deal. So what we're going to do, this is our first campaign. This is pool installation. As you guys all know, we're going to hit edit, we're going to hit copy, and we're going to hit paste. And this is going to copy literally everything. And all the ads and everything like that. Yep, that's fine. And we're going to hit pause after our new ad group is pasted. This, by the way, will make things a lot easier having all those ads done. We can change little pieces and parts of it, but we don't have to change the entire thing. And it just makes life so much easier than having to create every single new ad from scratch. If you just copy and paste them at the beginning and create 3 good ones at the beginning. Most of the calls to action can be reused. Most of the benefits can be reused, but making sure you go in there and change the direction. So say we're going for fiberglass pool installation, we have to go after headlines that read fiberglass pool installation. We have to add those keywords in. Otherwise, Google's going to see like, hey, this is kind of vague. Maybe the customer wants it. Maybe they don't want it. We want to be super direct on what we have to offer. We don't want to just give vague pool installation for fiberglass, vinyl, for just everything. We want to be super specific, because if an ad pops up, it says pool installation, but you type in fiberglass pool installation, and there's another ad that says fiberglass pool installation, person's probably going to click the fiberglass one instead of your vague, just pool one. So that's generally the concepts we use, and we're able to achieve pretty good results. Now, as you can see, this one has actually pasted into our account. It says pool installation number 2. We're going to come over here. Make sure you hit the little pencil icon here. We're going to rename this. We will do, let's do in-ground first. In-ground pool installation. Pretty easy to do here. So we're going to come over to in-ground pool installation, and we have a whole bunch of keywords that are not relevant to this account, or for this ad group, I should say. And we need to find new ones. So what I normally recommend doing is either editing this and adding fiberglass pool installation or in-ground pool installation, whatever we're doing. And you can just do that. Or what you should do is actually come over here to the keywords and find the actual fiberglass pool installation. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to change this to fiberglass. Or sorry, in-ground. We're doing in-ground. And we're going to hit get results. And that should come up with a few. Okay, so as you can see, this one has searches. That's good. We're going to just delete all of these. We're going to hit remove. That's fine. Completely fine, because we have not run these. There's no data here. And this will take a second and remove all of them. And then we're just going to paste a whole bunch in here. We're going to make sure we add these around here. I don't think there's going to be a ton for in-ground, so I'm not going to bother using the other one. Pool installation near me. Fine. Cost. That looks good. Sometimes when they add the word company next to it, sometimes that means like they're just looking for like chlorine or something like that. But if someone were to take the time to spell out in-ground pool company near me, probably looking for someone to install pools. In-ground pool near me, that's fine. Best, that's fine. In-ground pool builders near me, that's good. And cost, I would test out. I would probably build another ad group out just to test out the cost of stuff. In-ground pool contractors near me, that's fine. That looks, in-ground pool installation cost, that's pretty good. Yeah, and most of these are now getting into the part where it's not in-ground anymore. It's above, semi, pool liner, stuff we're not actually going after. And so I would say that's good. I would take the time to research and go through all of them. I have a video on this on our channel to show you how to do it properly. But for the sake of the video, I don't want to bore you guys to death. And a lot of people understand the concept of looking for stuff that's high buying intent. People who are typing in-ground pool installation near me are probably looking for in-ground pool installation. They're not looking for, chlorine. So that's really what we want to do with this. We really want to make sure we're going after high intent keywords here. Again, I'll upload that video or link it up above so you guys can test it. If you need more help, we're going to put this all in phrase match. That's completely fine. And what we're going to do is now come over here to the ads and assets. We're done with the keywords for this point. As this was pretty simple, we didn't have to do too much. But what we're going to do now, I'm actually going to pause these two ads. Just, it's easier to remember that way, I find. And we're going to edit the live ad right now. What we're going to do is come over here. We're going to change this to in-ground pool installation. That's fine. And we will do looking for, I think that's what packs out. Looking in-ground pool installation, question mark. I think we could do that. In-ground. Yeah, that looks good, 2-year warranty. And what we're going to do here is essentially switch out everything that said pool installation and the beginning was in-ground pool installation. And the reason for this is we are targeting keywords that say in-ground pool installation like these. So we want our ads to resemble in-ground. We don't want them to resemble just pool installation. We want to be very specific here. If this was, say, for example, a fencing company, we would do, maybe it's residential fencing, and then we have commercial fencing, and then you have local fencing, stuff like that, where it's a big enough difference that the consumer would matter. Like the intent is slightly different, and that's kind of how Google is measuring stuff now. It's based off intent. It's not based off exact search terms. And that's kind of how we want to word our ads and make sure they are relevant in that way. So what we're going to do now is come over here, swimming pool installation, in-ground pool, that's the same one. In-ground pool installation. Do we keep that in-ground? You know what? We could do in-ground pool services or in-ground pool builders, contractors. Oh, company. There we go. In-ground pool company. Company. Call now for a free quote. That's fine. Expert pool installation. Perfect. In-ground. That's fine. In-ground pool installation. In-ground pool installers. That's fine. We do that. Installers. There we go. To customizable features. And really, we don't have to change these ads too much just because they were well written at the beginning. Professional in-ground pool design. Does that work? Professional in-ground pools. That's good. Enjoyment. A consult. We could add in-ground pools here. And we're just trying to add in-ground wherever we can. Award-winning in-ground pools. Perfect. Pools, cool. Expertly designed. Yeah, it's fine. All right. And then we just hit save ad. And that's fine. That's done. We're going to come over here. We're going to edit this one. And as you can see, this becomes a lot quicker as opposed to the first ad set, because we're not making everything from scratch. In-ground pool services. Can we fit that somewhere? In-ground. You know what? Let's do local in-ground pool. Just to give it some chance. There you go. Make it a little different. Instant quote. That's fine. Certified in-ground, as you guys can see. Pool. What should we do here? In-ground pool installers, pool, trusted, certified in-ground pools. There we go. Insured, guaranteed, licensed. No, not licensed. What should we do? We should do certified or warranted in-ground pools. Warranted in-ground pools. There we go. In-ground pools. That's cool. Swimming pool installation. I would change this out. In-ground. I cannot spell today, but that's okay. In-ground pool installation. We could do in-ground, award-winning in-ground pools. Award. There we go. Cool. Expert pool installation. Maybe in-ground center. Expert pool installer company. Expert trusted. Expert pool installer. Experts in in-ground pools. That's fine. Trusted in-ground pool experts. Cool. Top rated. Oh, we already did that one. Trusted. Certified. We'll do certified. Or no, we already did that. In-ground pool. Easy and simple in-ground pools. Good. Cool. And again, just going through this, not super difficult. Cost, get a quote. That's not terrible. I'd probably change it out with something else. But for the sake of time, I don't want to spend too much time agonizing over it. In-ground pool installation service in Toronto, 25 years experience. Call now. I might not even add a get a quote. Call. Yeah, no, we're not going to be. Nah, so close. It's okay. One description doesn't have a call to action. It's all right. It's not the end of the world. That's in-ground. All right. And then now we can go in there. And this is clearly the one because we're going to go. We added in-ground here. So we're going to enable this. And then we're going to come over here and edit this on. We're going to add in-ground pool installation. Or fast and reliable pool install. I would leave this one generalized just to see it. We don't have to be perfect on adding in-ground to every single one. Hassle and free, luxury, in-ground pool designs, fully customizable in-ground pool. Actually, what are we doing? Fully customizable in-ground. We'll just leave it as pools. It's not a super big deal. We got most of them here. Stunning in-ground pools guaranteed to last. You know what? Let's just do in-ground guaranteed to last. That's a cool. To last. Perfect. Energy efficient in-ground pools. Energy efficient in-ground pools. There we go. 2-week installation process. Always on time. Stunning custom. There we go. Dive into the expert. And we are finished. And we hit save ad, and then we come over here and turn them on. And we have essentially created a brand new ad group, and that took us significantly less time than the first one. And then what we're going to do is come over here to pool installation, and then we're going to essentially double out the ad groups. Once again, we're going to turn this on, make sure this is on. And we're going to do this 2 more times for vinyl and what's the other one? Vinyl and fiberglass. So I'll just double out them both now to make things a little easier. All right, so now all of these have been copied and pasted in. We will name this one vinyl pool installation, and we will name the other one fiberglass pool installation. Now, essentially what you're going to do is do the exact same thing with these 2 ad groups. For the sake of not being redundant, I'm going to pass on doing that, but I'm assuming you guys get the point by now. You're going to click on this. We're going to switch all of these out. We're going to find new keywords here that are representative of this actual ad group. We're in vinyl. You're going to switch them out with vinyl keywords. You're going to come over here to the ads. We're going to swap all of the keywords out in here, headlines here that say vinyl. Very simple stuff to do, but it does make a massive impact. One thing I would look at doing now is actually looking into the landing pages and conversion tracking. At this point, your account is essentially good to go other than the extensions. I'll get to them in a second. But what we want to do right now is make sure your conversion tracking and landing pages are set up. If you're using a basic website, which I don't recommend, you'll have to go in, set it up through WordPress. What I would recommend doing so you can have an amazing conversion rate is going in and actually creating landing pages. What we use is a tool called Landingy, and this platform's awesome. It's super cheap. A whole bunch of companies use it. And essentially what you can do is build landing pages with it. So when someone clicks on this ad, instead of going to this actual website, you go to a web page that literally says in-ground pool installation. Here's a button to call. Here's a button to actually fill out a lead form. And that's it. It's got social proof. It's got everything you need to make a decision right there on the spot. This will normally triple or quadruple your actual leads over the course of a month. That's why we're able to get such high conversion rates. Now, if you are looking at building your own landing pages and need a little bit of instruction, we do have a completely free tutorial on this YouTube channel as well. I'll link it up above. We also have a giant course that goes over all the principles and everything behind it, and also has downloadable templates as well, just to make your life a little bit easier. If you do have different landing pages for each of your ad groups, like I recommend, changing those out is very, very simple. All you would have to do is come over here to your edit button. You can click on all of them and do it all at once, whatever you prefer. Just come to the final URL and change that out as well. And then you would enter in the new landing page and you're good to go. This will substantially help with conversion rates and getting more leads. And then the next thing is the actual conversion tracking. We use Landingy. I love it. We have 2 videos on conversion tracking on how to do that for calls and for lead forms. Very simple to do. Should take you 5 to 10 minutes to set it all up. That way, once these start getting leads, you'll know about them. You'll know how many calls you're getting. You'll know how to optimize. All of this is very simple to do. Highly recommend watching those videos. But if you're using another platform, feel free to Google it. on how to do it for WordPress or another landing page software. They're all slightly different. I like Landingy. I think it's great. I'll leave the link for it down below. But yeah, highly recommend at this point coming over here to tools and settings and starting the conversion tracking. That way it's done. It's out of the way. You don't ever got to check it again for the most part. As long as it's running well, you're good to go. Now, one thing that's important to check after you finish setting up the conversion tracking is to make sure Google's AI knows what the primary conversion actions are and essentially indicate to the AI, this is what our goal is, and this is what we want to get more of. If you don't do that, Google's AI won't know what's more valuable and less valuable. So just to essentially double check this, because more often than not, if you add a conversion action like you did in the actual conversion tracking videos, like I linked up above, it should automatically just set to account default and you should be fine. However, sometimes it doesn't, especially if you have 20 or 30 conversion actions in the account. So all you have to do here is just click on the actual campaign. We're going to come over here to settings, and then we're going to look at one marketing objective. This should be set to leads, not website traffic or sales. And then we can come over here. And as you can see, conversion goals. And this is set to account default. You can set it to campaign specific if you want. This is specifically if you would have different campaigns doing different products and services. That's completely fine if you want to do it. It just makes things a little bit more complicated. But account default, this is essentially what Google's going to be using in terms of data to optimize for this account. So once it gets a few leads, a few phone calls, it will then figure out, okay, this is how we can double down. This is how we get more of them. And if we just hover over this, you can see that we've added a form submission for the landing page. And then if we hover over phone call leads, we can see the different conversion actions for phone call leads. If these do not show up for whatever reason, you can come over here to tools and settings, click on conversions. And then as you can see, conversion goals. And you can see that this is account default goals. If you just hit on edit goal, you can see that this is added as a primary conversion action. If for whatever reason you don't want to track it, you can just click on secondary action, observe only. It'll collect the data, but it won't use to optimize. You can also turn this off as an account goal if you don't wish to use it. Same goes for the actual phone call leads. You can see both of these are being used as primary conversion actions, and Google's going to use that data to optimize with. If you have 20 different conversion actions, like I recommend not having, you can go in and edit those and turn them off and only really focus on the goals that really matter to you. Now, moving forward, what we have is essentially most of our campaign built out. What we are going to do is come over here to the actual ads and assets section. We're going to click on the actual campaign here. Do not click on the ad group. The reason for that is if we add them at the ad group level, we'll have to add essentially the same extensions for every single one of these ad groups. And if you have 10 different ad groups, you're going to have to add these extensions 10 times over. Not fun. So we're going to click on assets, and I'm going to walk you through essentially what all of these are. One thing that you have to do right off the bat that I would recommend doing now as opposed to later on in the campaign's life cycle is coming up here to tools and settings. There should be a button that says advertiser verification somewhere around here. What this will allow you to do is essentially be verified by Google. Once you're verified, you will get access to business name and business logo, making your ad a little bit bigger, a little bit more prominent. Highly recommend doing this. Not only do you get access to the extensions, you also don't got to worry about getting closed down. Sometimes Google, for whatever reason, you don't need to be verified right off the bat, but Google might change its mind. And then we've seen campaigns where they've been running successfully for years. They forget to do the advertising verification. And if you don't do it and report it in, I think it's a 90-day period or 60-day period, they will just pause the campaign entirely and won't let you run ads. So that is not somewhere where you want to be, especially if you have all that amazing data. So highly recommend doing that. Now, this will take a couple days to be approved, so you don't got to worry about it. But the business name, that's easy. Business logo, that's easy. Pretty self-explanatory. Upload a good photo and type in your business name correctly. What we are going to be looking for is mainly site links, callouts, structured snippet extensions, call extensions, lead forms you can if you want, location you can if you want. I'm going to go through all of these. But let's start off with the actual site link extensions, as this is what's going to make your ad significantly larger. If you've ever seen an ad, and I'll pull up a picture, this is what a site link extension is. And as you can see, this is the normal ad, and it allows you to click on different links to go to different places on the website so you can get to the place you want to be quicker. Now, if you're using a landing page software, you can easily just add a few more landing pages to maybe it's inground, maybe it's vinyl, maybe it's fiberglass, and you can just list them all in here. That way the person can go to the specific page they want. So not very difficult to do. However, as you can see, this ad is massive compared to just having this, and this makes it more likely to be clicked on. When it's more likely to be clicked on, you have a higher click-through rate, which generally positively impacts your quality score, which makes you get cheaper cost per click, which allows you to get more leads overall and have a lower cost per conversion, which is fantastic and generally leads to more account success. So highly recommend using site link extensions. The way we go about adding them is very simple. We click on site link extensions. We click on the big blue plus icon. And then as you can see, we have site links down here and there's a whole bunch you can add. I would recommend adding 8 of them. It's 8 or 10. I believe it's 8 on mobile devices. So you kind of want to maximize your potential here. It recommends 4. I would add more than that. But these are pretty simple. So what I would do for pool installation, I would do fiberglass, pool installation. And this is just giving direction on where this is going to go. Fiberglass. And these are slightly shorter. Let's do vinyl. Vinyl, pool installation, award, winning, vinyl. Call. Cool. And as you can see, if it wants to show us, there we go. We have this. And essentially you'll have a little description below here as well so people can see where they're going to go. I don't know if it had it in this one. Yeah, there we go. So this is the description that is optional to display. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Generally, if you have a good rating with Google Ads, and a higher quality score, they're more likely to appear. So which is what we're going for. The final URL here is where you want the actual end customer to end up. So if this website has a vinyl pool section, it does not. Let's just we'll do it on ground. Don't do this. Actually make a landing page that has a vinyl pool on it. But here you would put the actual link for the vinyl pool installation. We will move on to the next one. This one will be local pool installation. 2-year guarantee. Maybe that's how you spell it. I don't know. My spelling's not great. That's why we have grammar check and all the fun stuff to make sure it's correct. Local pool installation. We pools in the local GTA. So that's Greater Toronto area. That's just a certain area in Canada. And that just is a good thing of doubling down on the local part, saying, hey, we do these cities. You could also list the cities, Ottawa, Toronto, whatever cities you do, just to give the people an insight into how you work. For the final URL, let's see if they got a local build my, well, just take this one. Again, landing pages. Definitely use a landing page. And then site link 3, we will do award winning pools, 20 plus awards. One, call us today. Was that similar? Call now for free. That's all right. And I would put a page here that says essentially, we won these amount of awards. We did this. And then we'll just the gallery here. That's fine. Not perfect, but you guys get what I'm trying to say here. Or at least I hope you understand what I'm trying to say here. Moving forward, we will do, you know what? Let's do on-ground pools. On-ground pools. Easy and simple 2-week installation. Perfect. This is in-ground or on-ground? I think so. Cool. And then I would add up to 8, maybe even add 10, just so you can actually allow Google to really A/B test all of this. One of the things that you're going to be doing when you optimize this account is actually coming over to the extensions, figure out which ones are really resonating with people and which ones aren't. And that way you can turn the losers off and then double down on the winners, which again helps further click-through rate, helps lower cost per click, helps get more leads. Once you're happy with all that, you've added more site links, hit add site link to add all of them. You can come over here, hit save. For the sake of time, I'm not going to do 10 of them, but you guys get the point I'm doing here. The next one's going to be the callout extension. Callouts are fun, easy, and essentially you're just listing the benefits here. So 2-year guarantee. That's not how you spell it, boys. 2-year guarantee, local pool installers, pool experts. Where are we going now? What should we do now? Award winning. These ones are fun. Certified and insured. Oh, and by the way, for the actual amount of callouts you're allowed, I believe it's up to, 10. You want to fill out as many as you can. Even if you give like 15, it's not a big deal. Google's just going to cycle through all of these. And it's a really good way of just highlighting what your services are. I really like callout extensions, and they do allow people who are more interested to read on more about your ad and can be the difference maker when it comes to a highly clicked on ad as opposed to a low click-through rate ad, one that gets shown and one that doesn't. Moving forward, we could do free quotes available. Then vinyl in fiberglass, pools, perfect, in-ground, on-ground, in-ground and on-ground, 500 plus 5-star reviews. And I think that's fine. And as you can see, all of these come up. Very easy to understand. If you wanted to only show these at a certain time, you can hit advanced options here. That I would not recommend. That just overcomplicates the account and it really makes things hard to optimize because it's like, when were these specific things running? It's better if you just leave them all running at the same time in most circumstances. So we're going to hit save here. Then we're moving on to the structured snippet extension. And the structured snippet extension is essentially a call-out extension, but you're essentially able to add a type. So you got to be a little creative at times. So we could do styles, we could do fiberglass, we could do vinyl, we could do in-ground, and we can do on-ground. And as you can see, nice little styles, fiberglass, vinyl, in-ground, on-ground, easy peasy. You got to get a little creative with this one, but it's fine. And normally you want to add 2 different types of these. This allows Google to essentially circulate all of them. And really, it just makes it a lot better when you have to. Just more options for Google to A/B test with. Neighborhoods, you could do Toronto, Ottawa, or you know what, Brampton, Hamilton. And then just list all your cities and hit save and you're good to go. Make sure also in the top left-hand corner, it says, I'll pull it up again, edit. No, I already did it. It has campaign in the top left-hand corner. Make sure it's set to campaign and not ad groups. Moving forward, we have the call extension. That's pretty self-explanatory. You just enter in your phone number here. Don't change the bid adjustment yet. You don't have any data. Make sure this is set up. You could assign that to a specific conversion action if you wanted to, but normally the default is fine. Once you're happy with your phone number and location, please enter in the correct location. You would not believe how many people don't do that, and then they don't know why their mobile phone number is not working. So make sure the phone number is entered in properly and you're in the correct location. Once you do that, you can hit save and exit. The lead form, now this is going to be something that's interesting because a lead form is essentially this. The issue is generally lead form quality isn't as good as a lead form from your website. And we've noticed this, we've found them to be lower quality. Not always the case. I'm just not a big fan of them. Also, you have to hook it up to your CRM. You could also export it to like a Excel spreadsheet. That's completely fine as well. Just not a super big fan of them at the moment. I'm sure Google is working on improving them, but if you want to add them, it's completely fine. Essentially, there's a little button that people can click on, and then instead of going to your landing page, they can just specifically email you right off the ad. They don't ever have to go to your landing page, which I guess is good for some people. We find that, again, lower quality here. You enter in your headline, business name, description, and then essentially all the questions you want them to fill out, and then the call to action. Pretty self-explanatory and easy to do. Again, kind of depending on what you're going for. If you're going for more calls, I'd probably leave the lead form out. If lead forms are a big part of your business, maybe you can add it in. Up to you. Location, you can add this if you want. Very simple to do. You just hook it up to your advertiser locations or affiliate locations, depending on what you want. Very easy to do. But one thing I would recommend with the location extension is if your business doesn't depend on the person actually going to the physical location, then I would probably not use it because you're going to waste money on people clicking on this and then them not showing up to the actual location. A lot of the pool installation places, they don't care whether or not people actually come to their business. They want the phone call and they'd rather take the phone call. So that is something you have to wait. Normally, we don't use locations just because we don't find the reward and the ability to track them as well is kind of difficult. So kind of up to you. Moving forward, we have price. Price is an interesting one as well. Essentially, you're able to upload what you are selling. For pool installation, this is going to be kind of difficult because you'd have to put like, $100,000 here. And that is going to be an interesting result. And sometimes this is good, sometimes this is bad. If you have a massive price, say you're selling grand pianos for $15,000 and you don't want people to click on your ad, adding the price might be good. If you're trying to bet more on your sales team converting these people after the fact, adding the price may be bad. So you have to, again, weigh your pros and cons here to add the price extension. For in-ground pools, normally we're not adding them. People know they're expensive. And since a lot of the jobs are custom anyways, it's hard to give people a price. So those, depending on the business you're in, would recommend, really deciding and looking into it. The next one we have is the app. Most companies are not going to use an application extension. This essentially allows you to direct people to your mobile application. You'd be shocked that we've seen companies using the application as an actual extension for selling services that have nothing to do with an app. And that to me is shocking. For most people, just stay away from the app. It's not useful for a lot of people. If you're selling, maybe you're Amazon, you want people to go to your app, I get it. But if you're a moving company, if you're a electrical company, you probably don't have an application, you probably don't need this. The next one we have is the promotion. And essentially what we're going to be doing here is clicking on this, and essentially you can offer discounts. Now, for some businesses, promotions are a big deal. You have to have those sales factors. That gets people in the door. That's where you make your money. Maybe it's a long-term play, and you may get someone in the door and then they can sell more products down the line, and it's worthwhile to discount. What we find a lot of time is if people are looking for promotions for high-end services, like installing a brand new HVAC system or installing a brand new massive pool or something like that, generally those clients aren't the best. They're looking for the bottom dollar. They're not willing to pay for anything, and they're normally a headache. So I don't love the promotion extension overall, and I generally advise people staying away from it unless you have your stuff dialed in and you're good to go and you know exactly what the end client looks like and you're like, yep, I'm okay discounting our products here, and then we can make it up on the back end. Some businesses are really good with that. Some businesses are. Up to you. Now, once we have all of these filled out, we're going to come back here to our campaign, and you should be good to turn on the campaign. Now, all you have to do is come over here to the pause button and hit enable. Now, one thing I would recommend doing is making sure the conversion tracking is set up like I said, and then also optimizing this account. What needs to happen is you need to come in and optimize on a regular basis. You need to make sure your campaign is not targeting irrelevant search terms. There's a lot of stuff that goes into making sure that this account, despite having initial success, stays successful and continues to optimize. That's why we've designed the Google Ads optimization checklist. It walks you through on what to do on a weekly, monthly, and 3-month basis. As you can see, there's a lot of stuff you got to be doing. But this allows you to essentially optimize and make sure you're going to be generating good results and improving on what you're already spending good money on anyways. So you might as well actually take the time to make this stuff even more successful. And most people are not going to take the time to go through all of this and actually optimize the accounts. If you do, you will be substantially ahead of everyone. Also, there's a section to jot down your results so you can see that you're improving month over month, and it is a really, really good thing. It's completely free, and the link for that is down below. Now, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns about the Google Ads account or what you're doing or anything revolving around Google Ads, feel free to leave a comment down below. I will do my best to answer it. Other than that, you guys have a wonderful day. Take care, and I wish you all well, and best of luck with your Google Ads account and your search campaign.